I hope you're enjoying the pink as much as I am. I'm a huge fan of the color pink. I don't have enough of it in my life. I'm going to have a hard time letting go of these walls when I take them down. But for now, I'm going to enjoy the pink, and I'm going to use it in my backgrounds as much as possible. All right, welcome back. Here we are, section 2, Sādhana Pāda, and we're doing the last 2 sutras of this section, okay? 54, oh, darn it, I didn't practice these words. Let me work them out with you. We'll work them out together, how about that? Sva Visayasam Prayoga, yoge, Sva Visayasam Prayoge, Chitta Svarupa Nukara Ivendriyanam Pratyahara. Let's do that again. It wasn't as hard as I thought. Sva Visayasam Prayoge, Chitta Svarupa Nukara Ivendriyanam Pratyahara. With their respective objects, not coming into contact of the individual's mind, own form, nature, the intimidating or functioning according to, as if like, by the senses, abstraction, 5th constituent of yoga. Pratyahara or abstraction is, as it were, the imitation by the senses of the mind by withdrawing themselves from their objects. Pratyahara is the next anga or component part of yoga after pranayama. There seems to exist a good deal of uncertainty in the mind of the average student with regard to the nature of this yogic practice. Patanjali has disposed of this subject in 2 sutras, and the commentaries are not very illuminative. In order to understand what Pratyahara really means, let us recall how mental perception of objects in the outer world takes place. Yes, let's revisit that perception of things in the outer world, objectification. We perceive an object when different kinds of vibrations which emanate from it strike our sense organs, and the mind is then joined to the sense organs, thus activated. As a matter of fact, from the physiological and psychological points of view, there are many stages intervening between the reception of the vibration by the sense organs and the perception by the mind, but let us, for the sake of simplicity, confine ourselves to the simple representation of the mechanism of sense perception as generally understood. This may be represented diagrammatically as follows. Now, it is a matter of common experience that the corresponding vibrations may be striking against any particular sense organ, but if the mind is not joined, as it were, to that sense organ, the vibrations remain unperceived. Well, this is interesting. It makes me think of another video I did on the reticular activating system, so you can scroll through and find that one. The clock in our room keeps ticking constantly, but we rarely hear the ticking. Although the vibrations of sound are striking the ear constantly, the conscious mind is not joined to the organ of hearing as far as those vibrations are concerned. When we pass down a road, vibrations from hundreds of objects strike our eye, but we notice only a few, the rest not entering our consciousness at all, because of this lack of contact between the mind and those vibrations. Innumerable vibrations from all kinds of objects are thus constantly impinging upon our sense organs, but most of these remain unnoticed. Still, a few do manage to catch our attention, and these in their totality constitute the content of our awareness of the external world. A very interesting fact about this process of sense perception is that although the mind is automatically ignoring the vast majority of vibrations bombarding its sense organs, it cannot shut out all of them voluntarily if it wants to. A few vibrations always manage to catch the attention, and the mind is generally helpless against the inroads of these unwanted intruders. In fact, the more it tries to shut them out, the more numerous and insistent they become, as anyone can find out for himself by making a few efforts in this direction. But for the practice of Raja Yoga, the outer world has to be shut out completely whenever necessary, in order that the yogi may have his mind alone to grapple with. Let us go into this question a little more in detail. If we examine the contents of our mind at any time, when we are not making any particular mental effort, we shall find that the mental images which are present and changing constantly may be divided into the following three categories. 1. Ever-changing impressions produced by the outer world through the vibrations impinging upon the sense organs. 2. Memories of past experiences floating in the mind. 3. Mental images connected with anticipations of the future. 2 and 3 are wholly mental, not depending upon any objective reality outside the mind, while 1 are the direct result of contact with the outer world. The object of Pratyahara is to eliminate 1 completely from the mind, thus leaving only 2 and 3, which are then mastered through dharana and dhyana. Pratyahara imposes, as it were, a shutter between the sense organs and the mind, and isolates the latter completely from the external world. In the light of what has been said above, it should be easy to understand the meaning of the rather enigmatic sutra we are discussing. It will help us to appreciate the manner in which the idea has been expressed, if we remember that according to yogic psychology, the senses are really part of the lower mind. They are, as it were, the outposts of the mind in the external world, and should follow the lead of the mind. When the mind wants to put itself in touch with the external world, they should begin to function. When it decides to withdraw, they should be able to withdraw with it, thus breaking all connections with the world outside. This relation between the mind and the senses has been likened very aptly to the relation existing between bees in a hive and the queen bee. The bees follow the queen in a body as it flies from one place to another and do not function independently of the queen. Is this complete severance of connection with the world outside in the manner indicated possible? It is not only possible, but absolutely necessary if the higher stages of the yogic path are to be trodden. But in order that success may be attained, the yogic life has to be adopted as a whole. All the different steps or component parts of yogic discipline are linked with one another, and success in tackling any particular problem depends to a great extent upon how far the other related problems, especially those going before, have been mastered. If yama and niyama have not been practiced sufficiently and all emotional disturbances eliminated, if asana and pranayama have not been mastered and the physical body brought under complete control, then surely the practice of pratyahara is bound to end in failure. But if the whole of the sadhaka's life conforms to the yogic ideal and all his energies are bent on achieving its ultimate goal, then success must come sooner or later. It should also be mentioned here that though pratyahara appears to be a control of the senses of the mind, the essential technique is really the withdrawal of the mind into itself. It is a kind of abstraction so complete that the sense organs cease to function. Any schoolboy who is intensely interested in a novel cuts himself off from the outer world. Any inventor like Edison who is absorbed in a problem can forget the external world completely. But in all such cases, although a high degree of abstraction is obtained, the abstraction is involuntary, and there is something in the external world on which the mind is concentrated. In Pratyahara, the abstraction is voluntary, and the mind has no object of attraction in the external world. Its field of activity is entirely within itself, and the external world is kept out by the sheer force of will, as in Raja Yoga, or by the supreme attractive power of an object of love within, as in Bhakti Yoga. All right. 55. Tata parama vashyatendriyanam. Vashyatendriyanam. Tata parama vashyatendriyanam. Tendriyanam. Na-anam. I have to get those pauses, those kind of double vowels a little bit better. Vashyatendriyanam. Vashyatendriyanam, I think is better. Then, from that, the highest, the greatest mastery over the senses. Then follows the greatest mastery over the senses. The successful practice of Pratyahara, as we have seen in the previous sutra, gives complete control over the indriyas in the sense that we no longer remain their slaves, but become their master, switching them off and on as we switch off and on the electric light in our room. What such a power will mean to an ordinary man can be easily imagined, but for a Raja Yogi, it is a sine qua non. Sine qua non. Sine qua non. It is interesting to note how the first 5 angas of yoga eliminate one after another different sources of disturbance to the mind and prepare it for the final struggle with its own vrittis. First, to be eliminated by yama niyama, are the emotional disturbances due to moral defects in one's nature. Next, to be eliminated by the practice of asana, are the disturbances which arise in the physical body. Then come the disturbances caused by the irregular or insufficient flow of vital forces in the pranic sheath. All these are removed completely by the practice of pranayama. And lastly, through pratyahara is removed the major source of disturbances coming through the sense organs. Thus is accomplished bahiranga, or external yoga, and the sadhaka becomes capable of treading the further stages of antaranga, or internal yoga. There we go. That's the end of section 2. The next section is section 3, Vibhuti Pada, and the first one there is concentration is the confining of the mind within a limited mental area or object of concentration. And we'll do that one in the next video. Wow, we're really making progress here. Look, we only have we're almost we're 2/3 of the way through the book. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you're enjoying this. Until next time. Bye.